Hi, Conrad. My name is Narcissistic John, who likes hearing his own name from businessmen you should care about, as if I couldn't see it in the front field. So that's. Do you see any? Do you have any problems? We partner with people living on Earth to help them solve their earthly problems. We focus on earthly problems because we are people first business that puts leadership and integrity above money. I want to help you realize your dreams. We are so awesome, actually, that we are willing to offer a free listen to my pitch for 30 minutes call that will change your business forever. All strings attached. I assume you will jump on a quick 1-hour sales call with me to discuss your earthly problems in more in depth and allow me to pitch you the $999 course I haven't told you about yet. Thank you in advance, Narcissistic John. Giant signature full of links and images. I attached a 20-page slide deck in case you had nothing better to read it. Hello guys, this is Conrad, Yerba Mate Addict, and in today's video, I'm gonna talk about writing cold emails, the initial one, like how to write a cold email, frameworks, examples, and some tips. If I was the typical, content creator or YouTuber, I would first start with saying that you got this wonderful template that will change your life and you can use it to get X amount of replies and that you are not getting with your really shit cold email that you're doing now and blah, 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 which I'm not gonna do. Instead, I will show you what typically people write, and you probably write, why it's stupid. No, it's stupid. Well, why it doesn't work, and what works and why it works. And basically, just teach you a little bit of how to start conversations with strangers, because that's basically what cold email is. Even if you send it to a business, you send it to a person in the business, and he's most likely a stranger. That's why you call it a cold email, right? I think that's where the name comes from. It's like cold calling, that it's cold, that the person doesn't know you. So what do you do when you don't know a person or a business and you want to start chatting to them? And well, you don't want to start chatting them. You want to sell them something, but you don't want to be so obvious. So let's dive right into it. The typical framework of a cold email that most people send starts with who am I and who are we? So like, who am I, the person sending? Then it is followed by rhetorical questions, followed by why am I awesome? And you need to listen to me and multitude of ways we are different. And then you out dozens of irrelevant businesses using your product service and why you are retarded if you don't buy my product or service. And finally, you have to drop everything and talk to me for 1 hour tomorrow. And a call to action that kind of gives a sense of urgency, like this is your last chance to do it. Act now, 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 and like 3-4 to I don't know, 10-page presentation and case study and something else. So that's the typical framework. And example of the email, which is I heard you guys are getting the bit of irony in this one, is hi Conrad. My name is Narcissistic John, who likes hearing his own name from businessmen you should care about, as if I couldn't see it in the front field. So that's. Do you see any? Do you have any problems? We partner with people living on Earth to help them solve their earthly problems. We focus on earthly problems because we are people first business that puts leadership and integrity above money. I want to help you realize your dreams. We are so awesome, actually, that we are willing to offer a free listen to my pitch for 30 minutes call that will change your business forever. All strings attached. I assume you will jump on a quick 1-hour sales call with me to discuss your earthly problems in more in depth and allow me to pitch you the $999 course I haven't told you about yet. Thank you in advance, Narcissistic John. Giant signature full of links and images. I attached a 20-page slide deck in case you had nothing better to read it. So that's how roughly most emails look like that most of the businesses are sending. Of course, it's a bit exaggerated. So, but it's exaggerated to make a certain point of how ridiculous it is. And like, if you were to look at it objectively, or you were to get that kind of email, you would never reply to it. But for some reason, you assume that if you send it to us, they are really assholes if they not reply to it, or they say like, "Hey, don't spam me." So now that I went through the why it and what's kind of wrong with it. Okay, let me let me share a bit. It's like what's wrong with it. I think. So first, and that's we'll go into the 4R framework. So what's the why it doesn't work? Well, it doesn't work because first you start with yourself before I even care about you. So that's the wrong thing. You also repeat your name, which is possible to see in the email. Is you wanna get to the point as fast as possible because you don't have much time and attention of the person. So repeating something that's a good idea. And also, yeah, and then followed by rhetorical question. It's always bad. Or no, not always. Like 90% of the time it's bad because it's rhetorical questions are usually asked by like sleazy salesmen to kind of corner you into like, do you have this problem? Oh, I have a solution. So you really want to do it because it's very it raises too many flags. You can ask a question, but typically no more than one in an email because then you also confuse somebody if you ask like 5 questions are not good. And then yeah, well, it's like you talk about who you partner with and why you're awesome and why like what's your mission in business and why they should listen to you and why it will change their business forever. So essentially, this part is where you talk about yourself all this time. The reason why it doesn't work because they don't care what you can do. People only care what you can do for them. So it's the wrong frame to be writing the email from. And then finally, I assume you will jump on a call. So it's too big of an ask. It screams like I will accept if I agree to your suggestion or question or idea, then I will jump into the lion's den where I will be pitched to death and it will be awkward and I will have to kind of either suffer through it or say like, oh, fuck it, I have to jump out, which awkward. No. So yeah, it's a bit, yeah. And it also assumes that, you for sure got it, and you, and they are interested in your offer. So, and then thank you in advance. I don't like it, at all because yeah, it's kind of puts some kind of pressure on them because you're thanking them in advance. So like you assume they will respond. And yeah, giant signature never works because one, it's problematic as far as the deliverability of an email, and also no one really cares like all about this information that you're gonna put in your giant signature, and just looks ridiculous. And PS, yeah, attaching stuff is bad. Links unless they respond and they agree to it. And then also, yeah, like sending all those times people send like those 20-page, 10-page, whatever. Like no one, if they don't know you, there's no way in hell they're gonna spend like 15 minutes looking at your shit. So don't do it. So let's move into what the right framework is. The right framework is the right framework. So a lot of times you get said at the start of the video is that most people in the videos or tutorials, courses, whatever, they talk about templates. Templates are good, but templates are very short term because like you publish, share the template, people use it, people get it in their email, and then you want to send it. Eventually they just become recognized and people stop receiving them. So you don't want to get templates because it's a very short-term shortcut. You need to understand why those templates work, and this framework will help you create your own, all the number of templates you want to create. And also it will help you evaluate whether the email you wrote actually has a chance of getting a response or is unlikely to get one. Of course, there's more variables than just writing a good email when it comes to getting a response. But to simplify things, for now, we are assuming this is your problem. So the first, you start with research, social connection. Why me? So you answer, and why me means not why, like who you are, but why you chose this person to send an email to. And you need to, most people don't do it. I probably, if there was one biggest problem from them all, it's this one. And this one's the most important because it's the first thing they see. Of course, besides the subject line, which we'll not touch on in this video because it's going to be too long. But research social connection is big because it's first question on a person's mind when they open an email is, who the hell is this? And why the fuck is he sending me some email? Like before they even read, they just open it because the subject line caught their eye. And they don't recognize the name. And immediately your first job is to answer like, am I on the list? Am I not? Are you spamming me again? Is it some kind of marketing message, or do we have some form of connection? And even if it's not like, I know your brother, or we both have the same friend, it can be just a connection of like the same interest or in this field, or I saw that you, it could be even sometimes about connection, but even like a compliment. So just showing that, hey, I read your article, I read your blog, I saw your post, and that's why I saw you in this like list of best companies that do X, and I had to reach out because of Y. So it's kind of showing like, hey, you are not from a mass, you are not taken from a mass emailing list. And you can do it, you can do it like more personalized one-to-one, but you can also sort of do it at scale. For example, from the same city and we both attend the same school, or we both share the same name and we are in the same industry. I don't know, like there are many ways you could approach it, but it needs to either show research, social connection, like it needs to basically answer like why you are reaching to them, like them specifically, not them as the whole bucket of like e-commerce businesses exist on the planet Earth, but why the specific business of the name of like John Wick. Then the second part of the email is relevance. Why now? So that is a glue of the email that kind of ties the first part to your kind of sales pitch, let's say. So it's like why you are reaching out in this moment in time, like what. And the best way to do it is to tie it to something that's in for the industry, their industry, your industry, the whole store, is it the holiday? Is it, something happened with you? You can do it at scale. I will show you examples of what I did in the past, but that's the second question that needs to answer. Like basically, why is it relevant now? Like what's the what's the dynamic? What's changing? Why you need to pay attention? And finally, like reference relate, why you? So finally, now this is a place where you answer about you, but you don't start with and this is the name of my business. That's how long we were in it, but more how this reason why I'm reaching out now ties to what we do and how we can help you. And finally, you say, answer your question, what's in it for me? So what's in it for me means, like it's essentially like value proposition, like, hey, save X amount of money. This will make you this, it will make you workflow quicker by X many hours. I mean, it depends on so much on your business and what you sell. But that's where you are concise. On sentence, you try to summarize what the hell is the big benefit of potential, using your services or using your product or whatever. And then lastly, call to action. Like, what are the next steps? That's the question you are trying to answer in their head. A lot of time emails are also very confusing, and it's not clear. Like, even if I kind of like it, if I have to think that what to do now, it's not clear. The next step, what should I answer? Like, what are you trying to ask of me? Then a lot of times confusion leads to just omission. So they would just ignore it, delete it, forget about it. So you don't want to confuse them. So you want to have it clear, but at the same time, you don't want to make it too big. So the good principle is that the further you are, as far as the connection, the lesser the connection or the research you've done, the lower the ask. Because the ask is basically based on, the level of kind of your credibility. And if you ask for like 1 hour call and they're a stranger, it's very unlikely a business owner is gonna agree to that. So you need to kind of put yourself in their shoes, and oftentimes it's just a kind of it's usually better are close-ended questions. They can answer yes and no. But it's there's multiple ways to go about the call to action. But in today's video, I don't want to give you a template because whatever I will give you, you're gonna use it. So instead, just think of how you can answer this. What are the next steps without asking for the obvious, like, hey, let's jump on a call with me. And generally, what's the goal of the initial email? The goal of the email is to fire our best guns, tell our best stuff, show we did our research. We are their peer, not a salesperson, and it's worth a quick conversation. So yeah, that's the big important point. We're a peer, not a salesperson. Now, however, you can establish that you are a peer, not a salesperson. That's about common ground, social connection, research. And let me give you an example. You start with, I would usually start with unusual greeting to break the pattern of like, hi, hey. I would switch it to something a bit more odd, rare, or I would skip it entirely, because that's often how you write to maybe your friends and stuff. It's like John and dot, right? So you want to kind of immediately from the get-go be very unusual. Then finally, the first line, why me? Are you a robot or a human? So example, company name. So let's say Coca-Cola came up browsing Clutch for various mobile app development companies. I've sent you over to your website. I like what I see, especially let's say the article about the changes in your recipes from sugar to whatever now is in. So that establishes like you fucking know who you're sending it to, and you possibly were on their site. The second line, glue answers, why are you reaching out now? So I have this really weird example from a business I did campaigns for, which was selling pet caskets to cemeteries, which is super. So the line I use, for example, has been a recent rise in demand for the pet caskets we manufacture for pet. And this is a keyword, and you would replace, for example, with the type of business you're reaching out to. So if you're reaching out to e-commerce stores or whatever, it's like from e-commerce stores in, or like even you can be more specific, right? Like what's the specifically they're saying. But in this case, I'm reaching out to them. So I'm saying, hey, there's demand even if it's partially true, but it kind of gives well, the purpose of it is to not jump from like what most people do is they say, for example, even if they write some kind of research commonality and then they say like, anyway, I just wanted to pitch you this. So it kind of is like this kind of hook and bait kind of thing you do. So you're gonna ease into it, like give them the logical flow of how you went from, coming to their site to then pitching them. It's like, okay, so then there's their demand, the rise in demand, and then find the third and fourth line. So it's like a concept, credibility, results. Why you? Why should I care? So what? These are the questions that you're trying to answer. I'm reaching out to see if your type of business, let's say in that case was like a clinic, you could cut inventory costs in half without drop off in quality. If you sell 100 cats this year and you pay this, you will save that by switching suppliers. So that's very to the point. It has very concrete and visual show of numbers and benefits, and it's very clear for them what they could benefit, and it sounds very like big. So that was why I did like an example. If you sell 100 and you will pay this instead of that, it's very visual. They don't have to do those calculations. Cut your inventory costs in half and then without something. So that's a good formula to do. So yeah, that's definitely answers like why should they care? It's like they're gonna save this amount and it's not gonna drop off in quality. And the reason is that because their worry is it's something cheaper, it's probably worse. So you want to think about like what's their common number one objection and what's the number one thing they care about. So yeah, and then finally close. What should I act now? So feel free to say no if it's not the right time, but are you eager to connect? I like this kind of call to actions because they're taken from Chris Voss, who would talk about going for the no, because people are more likely to kind of say no, and then say like, why did they say no? Like no, but because it kind of gives them the chance to put their boundaries, and they usually like to explain themselves. It's much better than say like, are you eager to connect? But you first like assume that you be the right time. So you gotta give them more space. But it's all tactical. In the end, you want to just respond to these questions in their mind. And then, the tip I have is counting your requests if possible. Don't get straight for the kill, proposing a 15-minute phone call. Yeah, the reason you don't want to do that is because it sends a quick signal. One, it's that's what most everyone does. Two, it sends a signal that it's likely was a sales message. It's not a peer sales guy. So you want to kind of disguise yourself and then stand out sign off. I like to, something like stay awesome or awaiting your stern reply. I don't know, just something funny, humorous, lighthearted. Just avoid the best wishes, kind regards kind of thing because it's I don't know, it's too formal in my opinion, and it has a reply from my experience. And optional, there's a PS line. PS line I usually reserve for not for kind of here's a 15-page slide deck, but for it's mostly about their business. The PS would be something about their personal. So yeah, by the way, we're in the city, we went to the same college, or how is, I don't know, life now in virus times, or like what's happening? Have you been to friends? I don't know, just something more that's likely to connect to them in a personal level. That's what I would usually do. Alternatively, it's just can be something that just leaves this last kind of positive mark. or like standout marks that they're just gonna stand out in their head, such as something humorous, funny, a bit weird. Maybe attaching like some. There are many things that work, but essentially PS line should be kind of disconnected from the rest email. That's how you even do it in a letter. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you see and you want to support this show, then make sure to subscribe and you will get notified about upcoming videos. Also, if you're interested to learn more about the quest for questions or want to work with me on marketing strategy or your personal brand, then head over to conradyerba.com. And also there you will find that you can download my book on email marketing and B2B marketing strategy called The Art of War on the Inbox. And in the meantime, let Yerba be with you.